What's happening, YouTube? Jeff Robbins here. Welcome back to the channel. So I'm still waiting on the frame for the new dyno. Can't wait to get my hands on that. But coincidentally, it's been kind of busy here on my little engine building desk. Just a few weeks up until our race season kicks off. And coincidentally, just this last weekend, I was running all these engines on the dyno, and my dyno sprung a leak. Probably spilled about, I don't know, about a quart of hydraulic fluid all over the floor of my garage. I've had a leak before. I had to take things apart and put in the pressure relief valve. That was an afterthought. And when I put things together, I had a little weep in a couple connections, but this swivel connection completely failed, and it's just absolutely pouring fluid. So I've got to get this thing going. I actually still have these two engines down here on the end I've still got to get worked on, and then I've got to get all these Briggs ran. So I've got to get this dyno going sooner than later. But I figured while we're waiting for that, I could show you guys the data acquisition that I use on my dyno. This is a Micron 5. You probably see this on the majority of go-karts you see out there nowadays. And this is a Micron 5 2T. So with that, just directly off the back of the Micron, I'm able to take EGT and the engine water temp directly off the back of the Micron. I could also use this cable right here, and I could do EGT as well as CHT, depending on whatever engine I'm running. So that's those two sensors. We've also got directly off the back of the Micron, we've got the Micron expansion unit hanging off the back. And here's where I connect my pressure sensor that's in the dyno today. I didn't want to unthread that and bring that in. That's just asking for leaks, so that's still out in the dyno, but that's where that plugs in right there. And then this is just a standard AIM Micron water sensor. I'm going to use this to do the oil temperature sensor in the dyno, so that's going to monitor the oil temp. And we've also got, this is the AIM LCU1. This is going to take our AFR and lambda readings. This is a wideband O2 sensor. And actually, this is what powers the whole system right here. So the power comes in from your go-kart battery into the AIM LCU1. From there, it comes into the expansion unit, and then it powers the Micron 5. So that's where the power is coming from, is the LCU1. And then also hanging off this expansion unit is I've got my new load cell. So, and you know what, to be honest with you guys, I didn't know it was going to be quite this small when I ordered it. But this is a 20 kilo load cell, so it should be able to hold plenty of load. So we'll see how that goes. I didn't know it was going to be so small, so we'll just have to see. But I also had to get this amplifier box. And this is actually made for load cells, and what it does is I've got my load cell wired into this side right here. And depending on how you wire your load cell, it determines whether this is a compression sensor or a tension sensor. So you got to be mindful of that. And then once that comes over, I've got, this is just a standard Cat5 network cable that I cut and reused for this, and it wires up to this side. And then depending on your dip switch settings and how you have it wired, you're able to change the output voltage. So I'm actually able to change the load cell signal to a 0 to 5 volt signal that the Micron's able to read. And you know what, let me show you that real quick. Let's go ahead and turn this on. So I've just got a couple pages set up here. You can see all the different sensors. Over here I've got my two 5 volt sensors. This one right here is the dyno pressure sensor. It's reading a voltage just because nothing's plugged into it. And then right down here you see I've got my load cell. And if I reach over here and press on the load cell, you can see that it reads the change in voltage right there. So I'm going to be able to use that to calculate the foot-pounds of torque and then calculate horsepower. You know, let me show you. Let me go into the menu real quick. And this is a 20 kilo load cell, and the output is 5 volts, and it outputs in millivolts. So you can see right there with no load, we've got, it's reading 1 to 3 millivolts, and if I press on it, you can see that that'll increase. So this right here weighs close to a kilo. So if I put that on the load cell, just like that, you'll come over here and we're reading 249, 250 millivolts. So the load cell is a 20 kilo load cell. If we divide 5,000, because it's going to, the output's 5,000 millivolts, we get 250. So from what I can tell, the sensor appears to be outputting fairly accurately. So we'll just have to get that on the dyno to actually see. But from what I can tell so far, it looks pretty promising. And that's essentially all the sensors I'm going to be using. So you can get an official software. Off the top of my head, I think it's called Your Dyno, and you can use that for your data acquisition on your dyno. Either way, it's going to be an investment. I went with the Micron route just simply because I had 90% of this stuff before I even had the idea of making a dyno. I had the Micron, I had the expansion unit for our throttle and brake position sensors, and then I had the Lambda. So I was pretty much good to go. So you're just gonna have to make your choice on what you want to use. But if you want a working dyno, you're definitely gonna need some sort of data acquisition. And what I've chosen to go with is the Micron 5, which works great. So alright guys, as soon as I get that frame, we're going to go ahead and we'll get hammering out those videos. I've already got all the new fittings, hoses, and everything ordered up. So as soon as I get the frame, we're going to get going and we'll get those videos out. And I need the new dyno too now that mine's leaking as well. So I appreciate you guys for watching. Plan your race your plan, have a good time at the track.